Prior to going into showing you how to do a case, I want to just first give you an overview of the grand jury typing system, the steps involved with creating a ProsMemo and going all the way through to creating an instrument, finding slips, and all those things. It's a 10-step process that I'll walk through here very quickly. The first step in the process is the ADA goes in and creates the case. The initial pieces are demographic related things, basic setup information, defendant, officer, witness information. Following that, the ADA will enter more detailed information regarding the presentment, whatever is necessary for the ProsMemo. It would detail anticipated counts, anticipated grand jury activity, dates of presentment, and those types of things. Step 3, once the ADA is happy with the prosecution memo, he or she would print it out. There's a cover sheet on top of the prosecution memo. The cover sheet is signed in the signature lines by whoever is responsible for doing in the various divisions and bureaus. Once that's done, the prosecution memo would be, the cover sheet would be faxed to a telephone number on the fax cover sheet. At that point, the ADA will receive back an email indicating that an indictment number has been assigned to the case. Give the ADA's instructions as to the next step. The next steps include the ADA printing up the charging instructions applicable to the case. On the email is a link to that. The ADA would click on that link, print up all of the charging instructions pertaining to that case, put it into the case file. The ADA will also generate the 19050 notice if it hasn't yet been done. The ADA will use hot docs to do that. The ADA will also request a grand jury date by calling over to grand jury. Prior to doing that, they can actually check the grand jury typing schedule, of grand jury appearances, and they could see what dates might be available, and this could be a guide for dates that they would be asking for. Prior to the court date, the grand jury date, the ADA would go into the system and create and print the finding slip. The finding slip has a barcode on top. The ADA would mark up the finding slip with whatever happened on that grand jury date, and once they come out of the grand jury room, they would fax that to the telephone number on here, and again, that becomes part of the record of the case. An image of that is stored in the system's fax server. Once there's a vote, the ADA will go into the system, actually create the instrument, which is basically consists of 3 different pieces. The first piece is the determination of which defendants will be associated to the instrument, what type of instrument. Then the ADA will be indicating the counts, and then there's finally a word processing feature in here where, based on the different counts, you'd be asked to enter data pertaining to the variables. Once you're happy with the instrument, you would print it out. Again, there's going to be a cover sheet on top of the instrument. It has a barcode. The ADA will receive whatever signatures are necessary for that particular bureau and division. They would fax it to the phone number listed on the fax cover sheet. At that point, grand jury will have access to reviewing all the documents on the case. All of this is being done online. Little, if any, paper would be used by grand jury. The grand jury people, Terry Landino and others, would simply click on a button and OK the case. At that point, it would be filed with the court, and you would ultimately receive back an email indicating that the filing has happened, the date of the filing, and you'd be given instructions on what to do next. Included in those instructions in the email would be that you need to do a statement of readiness, and we also give instructions as to the paper flow, delivery of file to Supreme Court arraignment, and we provide information if this case is an arrest warrant or if it's a hospital case. Those could result in different processes. When you're ready to do the notice of readiness for trial, you would go back into the system, generate the notice of readiness, send it off to the ADA, and fax a copy to the system, at which point the system is aware that the final step, the mailing of the notice of readiness, has been sent, and the grand jury process is completed.